All right, guys, we got through these top two in the last video. Hopefully you didn't find them too difficult. These guys get a little tougher, and there's a number of different ways to do these problems. Sometimes one of the ways is easier than the others, and sometimes they're kind of all tough. Okay, so for instance, we just take a look at this number 3. Some possibilities we have here. Okay, the first possibility, okay, what if we just go straightforward chain rule? And so I let u be everything inside. Okay, so I let u be, okay, sine of 8x over cosine of x cubed minus 2, like that. Okay, then this becomes du of, this would be u cubed. Okay, so we would get 3u squared times du dx. And then when you go back in and you substitute, you're going to get 3 times the quantity of your u, sine of 8x over cosine of x cubed minus 2, like this, squared, times the derivative of this guy, d dx of sine of 8x over cosine of x cubed minus 2, like that. Okay, and then obviously when you get here, you're going to have to apply the quotient rule. And then within the quotient rule, you're going to have to use the chain rule to do this guy and that guy. Okay, so that's one possibility right there. Okay, another possibility, okay, second possibility, is we say, okay, well, why not rewrite this guy and let's cube the numerator and cube the denominator. Okay, so we could write it as the derivative of, okay, sine of 8x cubed over cosine of x cubed minus 2 cubed, like that, and then just go straightforward quotient rule. Okay, and then obviously within the quotient rule, you're going to have to use the chain rule. Okay, that's another way to do it. And then there's a third way to do it. Okay, let me push this up a little bit. What if we take this guy, okay, right here, okay, and we rewrite it as a product rather than a quotient, just by taking the bottom, and rather than having it to the third power, we have it to the negative third power. Okay, so I could do this, okay, where I'd have the numerator, sine of 8x to the third power times the cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative third power. Okay, and then rather using the quotient rule, you could use the product rule here, and obviously you're still going to have to involve the chain rule. Okay, so it's just a matter of how you want to do it. And as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, is there one way that I think might be easier than the others? And you know, I think that, you know, these guys up here are pretty much the same as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I don't know, this guy might be a little easier. Okay, so why don't we try it this way? Because I don't think we have used this sort of, you know, technique to do that. Okay, so why don't we try it that way, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. Let me pull another piece of paper over here, because I know this guy's going to go on for a while. Okay, so if we do it this way, okay, then my derivative would have to be the first times the derivative of the second. Okay, so I'm going to get sine of 8x cubed times the derivative of the second one, and I should say dx equals, okay, the derivative of this guy, cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative third, plus the second, okay, cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative third times the derivative of the first sine of 8x cubed, like that. Okay, so obviously right here, okay, this guy just keeps, I just keep bringing him down. Okay, this guy just keeps coming down, and this guy right here just keeps coming down. Okay, so right here I have to work with that guy and then that guy right there. Okay, all right, so let's see, if I'm doing this guy, okay, it's just like these first two problems that we did on the last video. Okay, just like these guys. Okay, so I have to deal with this outside, okay, exponent, so I let u be everything inside. Okay, so u ends up being cosine of x cubed minus 2 right there. Okay, and then let's see, over here be the same thing. I have to deal with this outside exponent, so u is everything inside. So over here, u is sine of 8x, like that. Okay, all right, so I've got this guy, sine of 8x, that's all to the third power, okay, times, well, if this is u to the negative third, I get negative 3u to the negative fourth times du dx, okay. I bring this guy down, so cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative third, that's negative, okay, times, well, let's see, if this is u, that'd be u cubed, so the derivative of u cubed, okay, would be 3u squared times du dx. Okay, all right, so let's see what happens here. I've got the sine of 8x all to the third, and this would be negative 3. All right, my u is right here. Cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative fourth, okay, times du dx. Okay, and then I have this plus cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the negative third, okay, that's like this, okay, times 3u, which is sine of 8x, (3u squared) times du dx. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to start cleaning this up right here and start cleaning this up right here. Okay, as well as I got to start dealing with du dx, okay, from right here. And notice that when I do du dx here, I'm dealing with finding the derivative of this guy. And when I'm doing du dx right here, I'm finding the derivative of this guy. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start cleaning some stuff up here. So let's see. Notice that this is a negative exponent, so that guy goes down below. The negative 3 stays up above, and that stays up above. Okay, so I'd have negative 3 times the sine of 8x to the third power over cosine of x cubed minus 2 all to the, that would be to the positive fourth power, times this du dx, okay, and so that will be the derivative, okay, of this guy right here. So taking the derivative of cosine of x cubed minus 2, okay, plus we come over here, and let's see, all I got to do is put this guy down below and make him to the positive third power, so this guy all stays up above. So we got 3 times the sine of 8x squared all over the cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the third power, like that. And then du dx, that means I have to take the derivative of this guy right here, sine of 8x. Okay. All right, now, We got to start looking around here, see what happens. Okay, so when I do the derivative here, okay, I have to use the chain rule. So my u ends up being x cubed minus 2. And when I take the derivative over here, I have to use the chain rule, so my u ends up being the 8x. Okay. All right, so we bring this guy down, negative 3. Let's see. Sine of 8x cubed over the cosine of x cubed minus 2, and that's all to the fourth, okay, times, well, let's see. If this is u, this would be the derivative of the cosine of u. So I'd get the opposite of the sine of u times du dx. And obviously I'm working with this u right here. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to bring this guy down. 3 times the quantity of sine of 8x squared over the cosine of x cubed minus 2, and that's cubed. Okay, so if this is u right here, and I take the derivative of the sine of u, okay, I'm going to get the cosine of u times du dx. And obviously, this is my u right here. Okay, so let's see, let's keep going here. I know it's getting busy, and I know it's not easy to look at. These guys are not easy. Okay, so I'm going to get negative 3. Let's see, I'm going to just leave it in the form it's at for right now. 8x cubed over cosine of x cubed minus 2 to the fourth. Okay, all right, and let's see, this would be times negative sine of, well, my u is x cubed minus 2. X cubed minus 2 times the derivative of u, and the derivative of u would be 3x squared. 3x squared. Okay, plus. And obviously I got to clean this up, and we'll be working on that next. Okay, so I have 3 sine, I need those parentheses, sine of 8x squared. Okay, and then I have the cosine of x cubed minus 2 cubed. Okay, times, well, cosine of u is 8x, so that'd be cosine of 8x, like that, times du dx, so the derivative of u here is just 8. Okay, so I'm done with all the derivative portion of it. So now it's just a matter of, you know, how much can I actually clean this up? And we're going to find out. Okay, so let's see. Notice here, negative times the negative is a positive, so the negatives go away. Okay, and so I'm going to have this 3 times 3x squared up above, so that's 9x squared. Okay, I'm going to have the sine of x cubed minus 2, like that. And then remember, this is the third power of the sine of 8x. I'm going to write it as the sine cubed of 8x because it gets rid of a pair of parentheses, and it makes, at least to me, it makes my life easier. Okay, and then we look down here. So this is the fourth power of the cosine of x cubed minus 2, so that's the same as the cosine to the fourth of x cubed minus 2. Okay, and it gets rid of another set of parentheses, so cleans that up as much as I possibly can. Okay, and then we take a look over here. All right, I don't have any negatives to deal with, so I just have this 8 times 3, so that's 24. Okay, I have this cosine of 8x. Okay, and then notice the square of the sine of 8x is the same as the sine squared of 8x, and it gets rid of a set of parentheses. Okay, and then down below, the cube of the cosine of x cubed minus 2 would be the cosine cubed of x cubed minus 2. Okay. All right, now, the only other thing I could possibly do is, notice the denominators are real close, but the only other thing I could possibly do is find a common denominator. Okay, that's it. okay? And notice I have 4 factors of cosine of x cubed minus 2 here. I have 3 factors of the cosine of x cubed minus 2 here. So I could multiply above and below by 1 more factor of the cosine of x cubed minus 2 above and below here and get the common denominator. Okay, now is that worth it? We'll take a look, because clearly I think that this is an acceptable answer, okay? And I still have to go back and take a look. Is there anything else I can do? I don't know yet, okay? But if there is nothing else I can do, that's an acceptable answer. But if we find a common denominator, it's going to be this whole thing over cosine to the 4th of x cubed minus 2, like that. Okay, so I'd have this guy, 9x squared sine of x cubed minus 2 sine cubed of 8x, right there. And then I multiply above and below here to get the common denominator, so I'd have plus 24. I'm going to have cosine of 8x cosine of x cubed minus 2 and sine squared of 8x, like that. And then we're looking at these 2 possible answers. Okay, and I don't know if I would necessarily say that one is better looking than the other. They're both atrocious. Those are some ugly looking answers. And I'm looking right now, is there anything I can do? Well, if you look up above, notice the sine of one thing here, it's the sine cubed of a different thing there, so I can't even, write that as like sine to the 4th of something, because these 2 things are different. Nothing I can do there. Same thing over here. Okay, you have cosine and sine squared. I can't do anything. So even if I multiply above and below to find that common denominator, you look over here, it's a cosine of 8x and the cosine of x cubed minus 2. So there's no way to combine that into like cosine squared of something. Okay, so I don't see any way to simplify it. Okay, so I think it's a judgment call, which one of these is a better answer. And I would say that they are both equally complex. Okay, so either one works for me. Okay, all right, so we got that guy out of the way.